So in part one of our student portfolio, we learned how to actually create the website itself. And hopefully you've gotten that far. If not, go back and watch part one. So that means that you should have a front page to the website that has your first and last name and the word student portfolio. And then we've properly configured the site document name, which is also part of the web address for it. Okay. So we've created it. It's pretty exciting. We probably will not get a lot of traffic to this, however, unless we make it a little more fun and interesting. And that's going to come in by adding pages. So over on the side here, you can see the dialog that says pages. We're going to click on that. And this right now, this is your home page. Okay. So we need to add some additional pages to it. Now, some people create websites and you can down below here add tons of stuff down below. We'll talk about adding things to the page a little bit later, but I could make everything on this one web page. But general rule, it's not good to have a web page that's super long that people have to scroll and scroll and scroll and scroll to find stuff on, especially when we're going to be adding a lot of things to it. If you're, for instance, a fifth grader, you're going to be doing this for 4 years and putting, many documents every year. So you could have, 30 or 40 or 50 things on this website. And I don't want to have to scroll down through all that. So we're going to add pages, which helps with our navigation. And so under pages, this is kind of our navigation pages menu as well. And we're going to start off by just simply clicking on a new page. And we're going to call this new page whatever grade level you are in. So I'm going to just pretend that I'm a fifth grader today, and I'm just going to put in fifth grade as my web page. And I click done, and you'll see fifth grade appears here. It also appears here. So if I click on fifth, well, it's already sent me there. If I click back on home, this was my original web page. If I click on fifth grade, that sends me to that web page. Okay. If you've been here for a while, if you're an eighth grader and you've been in the district the whole time, you should see a fifth, sixth, seventh one, and you're going to go in and create your eighth grade web page. So you would go down and click on new page and put in eighth grade. If you're a sixth grader, we're going to put in sixth grade in there, okay? And you can see them going across. Now, let's say that I want to kind of go in reverse order. If I'm an eighth grader, I want that to be first one up on here. So I can just simply take this page and slide it up over the top. Now, don't put it inside. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. But I'm going to slide it up right over the top. And you can now see that I've got sixth grade and then fifth grade on here. And if I was seventh, eighth grade, I could put that off to the side. So that's how I can change the order of my navigation bar up here on the top, is by moving these things around and flipping them up and down. Now, you can't change home. That's always got to stay at the top. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, no, it's got to stay at the top. Okay. So, again, if you're a student who's had a web page already, we're going to be adding page for that for this grade year. If you're brand new, we're going to add whatever grade level you're on. Okay, so just simply, again, click that, put in whatever grade level you're in, click done, and then if we need to move those around to get those in the right order, we're going to do that. All right. So just like I said before, however, we don't want to have this page have everything all on this one page, because we could put everything that we do in sixth grade, fifth, sixth, seventh grade all on one page, but it's scrolling down. It's not as interesting. People would much rather be able to click around on this rather than have to scroll through. Okay. So what we need to do now is to create some sub pages for these for each of our subject areas. So I'm going to pretend I'm a sixth grader here, and I'm going to click on these three dots off to the side, and I want to say I'm going to add sub page. Okay, let me do that one more time. So again, when I hover over each of my grade levels that I've got in here, I'm going to click add, or click on the three dots and then click add sub page. And my first subpage I'm going to put in is, I'm going to call it ELA for my English Language Arts, and put that in there. And you can see that's now appearing. You can see that it's right below sixth grade and it's indented in. That tells me that that is in this folder, if you will, for sixth grade. Now, I could have come down here and let's see, I'm going to do this. And I don't recommend this method because it gets a little tricky for people. But let's say I forgot and did it wrong and I made a math page and I put it here. You can see the math page is now appearing on my navigation at the same level as my grade levels, which I don't want. I want math inside my 6th grade one. So I could create that way. And if I do, then I can grab math and slide it up. And then when you get that complete square or rectangle around 6th grade and release, you can see that it is now inside of there because it's indented in. So that's how we can see how our navigation all works. And let's go and we're going to add another subpage. So again, remember, don't add a subpage under math, right? We want to go back up here, my 6th grade. I'm going to click on my 3 dots, and I'm going to add a subpage, and we're going to call this one Social Studies. And there's my Social Studies one. And then we're going to do another one for Science. So again, add subpage. Science, put that in. Now we're trying to be really organized with this and a little OCD on it, and they're not in alphabetical order. I want them in alphabetical order, right? I want an ELA, math, science should come before. So just like did before, I can just simply grab hold of science and drag it up right above social studies, okay? We're also going to need to add subpages then for our specials, okay? So we're going to do one for art, which we'll see later on this year. And then one for computers. Best class ever, of course. And one for music. And last, but, well, it's kind of least. No, just kidding. It's very important. We're going to add a subpage for PE and the other Mr. Brooks. So now you can see I have all these: ELA, math, science, social studies, art, computers, music, and PE. I've got a subpage for every single one of my classes, and that means I can now put work that I did in ELA in the ELA page, and then the math page, et cetera, down here, okay? Now this gets a little hard to see everything all at one time, so I can collapse these into this. So I only have 6th grade showing up here. It's a little easier to see my navigation, but then I'm like, okay, so what's under 6th grade? I click on this and they pop down here. Now you're like, well, wait a minute, Mr. Brooks, they're not showing up here. Well, same thing. A little arrow, sit on top of them, and I can go to any one of these pages. So let's see what my social studies page looks like. I click on it, and there's my social studies page. And again, if you've been here for a while, for other grade levels, you should see these little drop downs next to each one of them. And in fact, I don't even have to hit the drop down. I just hover over it, and it's going to, be able to send me to those different pages, okay? So please make sure you put in your grade level and that you have then put in all of your subject areas for this year. So ELA, math, science, social studies, art, computers, music, and PE, and please put them in that order under there, okay? If you need to move them around, it's just as easy as grabbing them and sliding them around to wherever they belong properly. Now, after I get all those done, I'll say, well, let's go see what that looks like on my website. So I'm going to go view my published site, and I go here and wait, none of that stuff's showing up. What's wrong, Mr. Brooks? How come it's not showing up? Well, I didn't publish it, okay? So I did all this work, and nobody's going to see any of my work until I go back and I hit my publish button, and it's going to show me here's what I've got going right now. Doesn't really show a whole lot, but in the current view, it's not published, okay? So there's nothing to show because I haven't published it. So I'm like, okay, yep, that's what I want it to look like. I'm going to click publish. This is kind of like a double check before I publish it. I publish it, and great. So let's go back to my site and see what it looks like. It's not there, Mr. Brooks. What's wrong? Well, remember, we got to go in and refresh our website. And when we refresh, now finally we do see the actual website with all of our pages listed under there, and then we can click and go to any one of those pages, and there's the stuff that I'm going to put in my science, okay? So we want to make sure that all that is working and double check that it's published and everything looks correct on it, all right?